When the Attorney General lies to a United States Senator, I think it's time for that Attorney General to go. And again, he not only lied to me as a person, but when he lied to me, he lied to the Senate, and he lied to the people I represent. And for that reason, I'm asking him and demanding that he resign today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Welcome back to Hardball. That was Arkansas Senator Mark Pryor speaking on Thursday. One of the 8 fired U.S. attorneys, Bud Cummins, was based in Little Rock. He was on this program last night. Senator Pryor joins us now to discuss what questions remain unanswered and why he thinks Attorney General Gonzales should go. Senator, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What was the lie that Gonzales told you?
I had a couple of telephone calls with Attorney General Gonzales, and in those calls, he assured me that he was going to send Tim Griffin through the normal confirmation process. He assured me he was going to nominate him and send him through the process. Over and over, we talked about this. When we get the emails that were released this week
by his Chief of Staff, Kyle Sampson.
By his Chief of Staff, it is very, very clear that they purposely were telling me that. In fact, it says, let's gum this to death. Let's run out the clock. And that's exactly what they were doing.
To what end?
It was almost as if he was reading that email when he was talking to me on the phone. And so he had no intention of ever nominating Tim Griffin.
In other words, he didn't have any intention of providing any other alternative for you. He was going to muscle Tim Griffin in, as your point.
Absolutely. He did the interim appointment, which, by the way, this all started really over the summer when we started hearing rumors in Little Rock that Bud Cummins was being forced out and Tim Griffin was coming in. In one of the emails over the summer, it says, we have a senator problem in Arkansas. Well, I'm the senator problem. And so I've been working on this behind the scenes for a long time. Finally, I call him in December and say, look, I'm not saying I'll ever support Tim Griffin. I may or may not. I don't know. I don't know enough about him. But please nominate him and send him through the process. I don't want a recess appointment. At that point, I thought we were talking about a recess appointment. I didn't even realize that they'd snuck this provision in the Patriot Act.
That it basically allowed the president to nominate Tim Griffin in this case and sidestep the nomination process.
Well, actually, yeah, what the Patriot Act provision does is not to nominate, but actually to appoint on an interim basis, so there is no Senate confirmation. And when you really look at the memos, when you look at them all together over the last year or so, it's very clear that they had a plan and a scheme to do just that.
Well, you're not naive about this. This is a political process, but your point is that the Attorney General took it too far. Absolutely. That there was actually communication about, jimming this whole process up here to basically sidestep you.
Absolutely. And listen, I'll be the first to say I'm a realist. I know that there are a lot of U.S. attorneys out there that have been appointed for political reasons, and I'm okay with that. But the point is, nominate them and let them be confirmed by the Senate. Let's make sure that they're the quality of lawyer and person that we want as a U.S. attorney.
Bud Cummins, who was in this program, said, look, I understand why I was being removed. It was to make room for Tim Griffin, who worked for Karl Rove, political advisor to the president. It's basically a patronage job. I get that. And maybe Tim Griffin was being groomed for political reasons to be an office holder one day. But, this is how the game is played. Again, what makes that a dismissible offense in your mind for the Attorney General?
It's not so much that they decided to move Bud Cummins out and put Tim Griffin in. That really is fine. If they had done just that, that's fine. But again, nominate Tim Griffin, let him go through the process. But then on top of that, they deliberately misled me and the Congress. Now, again, up here, they may say deliberately deceived or purposely misled, whatever they want to say. But in Arkansas, we call that a lie. When you sit down on the phone with someone and tell them that you're going to do this, oh, yeah, we'll take care of it. We'll take this into consideration. We'll work with you. When we know now by email they had no intention to ever do that, that's a lie.
You don't trust the Attorney General?
I've just lost confidence in him. We've had good relations in the past. I voted for him. I was one of 6 Democrats that voted to confirm him, and I gave him a chance. I thought that let's put him in that office. Let's see how he does. I think he can be okay. A lot of my colleagues thought he'd be too close to the president and too loyal to the president, and unfortunately, they were right. This is a position. The Attorney General is a little different than most other cabinet-level secretaries. It's in the Constitution, and they should be all about the pursuit of justice. Obviously, there's political. We know that. We know that. But fundamentally, they should be about the pursuit of justice. When you read these emails, he was about politics.
Just about 30 seconds left. Let me turn to the issue of Iraq. This week, you're one of only 3 Democrats to vote against a measure proposed by Democrats that would set a timeline, a goal for the withdrawal of U.S. troops. Why?
Very, very tough decision there, but my position on that is I'm opposed to a public timetable. I think we ought to get out of Iraq. I think we ought to work on that. And I think we ought to turn as much authority over to the Iraqis as quickly as possible. I'm opposed to the surge, but I think it should be a classified timetable, and we do that on our own terms. It's just like in World War II. The Germans knew we were coming at D-Day. They didn't know when and where. I don't want to telegraph what we're doing to the other side.
Do you think that as we begin the 5th year of operations in Iraq, that the mission is salvageable, winnable?
I hope it is. I really have serious concerns about the surge. I think the president is wrong on that. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's right, but I hope he's right. I want to succeed. I have serious questions about whether we'll ever succeed in Iraq.
All right, Senator Mark Pryor, thank you very much for coming on the program this evening. Up next, hardballers John Fund and Ron Reagan on all the big developments of the week and in the race for 2008. You're watching Hardball only on MSNBC.